we should talk about another favorite subject of mine, which is uh, where to live and work.
Sure.
And
So are you a Columbus native?
Yes.
So grew up in Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
Moved out to San Francisco as part of the gold rush.
I wouldn't say that. I think that I always was fascinated by San Francisco and the Bay and all that. But I was recently thinking back to like when I moved out there, and I originally moved out to the country in California, and I didn't like I wasn't trying to get to Silicon Valley. I was just trying to work on some cool things. And I didn't move to the city because I wanted to. I moved there because of some other factors. It wasn't like a dream of mine. But when I was there, I did love it, and I lived there while, before Uber and before Salesforce and all that stuff was just first few lines of software. When I was there, not at all.
I'm kind of curious. You've lived in a few places. Originally from Columbus, Ohio, moved to Northern California, including the countryside and San Francisco.
Yeah.
And now after many years there, you've relocated back to Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
So, like, what do you like about living and working in both these places, and what do you dislike about both of the places?
Right. Yeah. So I think that it's difficult to do creative work in certain cities. And it's because of the there's sort of like an aggressive attitude in a lot of cities. And it's hard to be creative in that. It's not even just economics either. It's just everyone around you is very aggressively pursuing something. And it makes it difficult to actually sit and think and work creatively. And that's why there aren't that many like rock bands in San Francisco or New York anymore. It's why the sort of creative side of things is happening elsewhere. And I think that's the main thing that I don't like about living in a city, is that you end up with a lack of variety or diversity of the types of people that live there.
Do you think when you first moved to San Francisco, there was more creative stuff happening?
Yeah. So San Francisco used to be like San Francisco is always changing, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. And it's an amazing place. I love it. But when I moved there, it wasn't a place for large companies. It was a place for small companies and startups, and a lot of creativity, a lot of wild ideas. And then if you had some success, you would often move down south. And then now those companies now blew up down south, and they're moving up to the city. And so now there's like, Salesforce and Uber and stuff like right in San Francisco. And it's fine. It's just that, again, it drives out some of the creativity in some ways, or some of the pursuits that aren't entirely financial. Like if your pursuit is like, I want to see if I can build something that really appeals to me or some idea that I have, and isn't all like driven by some market thing. It's difficult to build that kind of stuff in a city these days. People don't understand it as well.
And then is Columbus more suited for that then?
I think so. It can be. I mean, I think that, I've been working really hard on trying to create really big ideas here in Columbus. Like Ethics, which is this blockchain project I'm working on, is a very big idea around decentralized trade. And it's something that I think is like a really, really huge idea, and it's really aggressive. But that isn't always the best thing to be working on. Sometimes there are other pursuits, and it's good to have lots of people around you that are pursuing lots of things. And Columbus has a big variety. I mean, I've got some friends here that are very involved in creating amazing music and arts scenes and spaces and lifestyles that make this place awesome.
In a couple words, what's your favorite and least favorite part of San Francisco and of Columbus?
That's tough. I think my favorite thing about San Francisco is it's super beautiful, and it's got, mountains and the ocean and all the activities that come with that. The skiing, the sailing, the surfing, the hiking is just out of this world amazing. My And then the worst thing is it's a super grind and there's a tremendous amount of traffic. So this like and the traffic's bad because it's hard to get to those mountains and oceans, and you have to deal with it. Now you can schedule and deal with it, but it's a lot. Columbus, the best thing about it is that it's super convenient and super low key. There's a huge variety in the kinds of things you can do, but and there's no nonsense. Like you're never in a 2-hour traffic jam, but it doesn't have mountains and oceans and that kind of thing. In
the stairwell of your
Yes.
co-working space, there's it looks quite a vintage poster.
Yes.
That says Ohio skiing.
Yeah, it says Ski Ohio.
Ski Ohio, and then it's got a man like tucked in a racing tuck, but he's just on a flat cornfield.
He's on a cornfield. Yeah, that's right. That's it's muddy riverbanks and flat. Everything's flat. Sticks, trees. Terrible weather in comparison to other places. But a lot of really awesome things in terms of what people do here. You have to kind of make it great, and that's like, it's not just great because we have an ocean or a mountain. It's great because there are people doing all sorts of really cool things here.
When we were in high school, Columbus felt quite vibrant in terms of some of the art and rave scenes.
Yes, completely.
And I think I've even had conversations with you about this in the past. Like, part of the reason why it seemed so vibrant at the time is because there wasn't really anything to do.
Yeah.
So, like, people sitting around saying, this kind of sucks. What can we do to make it better?
Yeah.
And then trying to make something and making a scene.
Yeah.
But a lot of those people, us included, left.
Yeah.
Went to Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York after they finished high school or finished university to try to chase the thing that they had already made.
I mean, I never found it anywhere else, and it may have been there, but I didn't find quite what we had here in terms of the vibrancy or the there's stuff. I mean, there's stuff elsewhere, but it's different. So maybe that's part of it. But yeah, I think it's a good point.